you on YouTube and TikTok platforms. We thank the Most High, even Sanini Nainini, even Tata Nzambi. We thank Him for all of you. Let us talk to the Most High. Oh, great Sanini Nainini, we thank you for all that you've done. We thank you for your mercy. We thank you for your favor. We thank you for your delivering us out of the hands of those that mean us no good, that mean us evil, that have prospered and they're benefiting off the prosperity that they have gotten off us. They've hoarded gold, they've hoarded diamonds and all kind of things, and they're making money every which way from the lands you have given us and the things that you've given us, the homes that we have, the lands, and they're taking the farms of the farmers here in the United States. They're causing them not to even make the money, even from the north, the southernmost parts of South America, even to the tip of Canada. They're causing many to be made havoc of. And then we're looking from South Africa to Egypt, and where they're causing different things between mid and the northern part of Africa, Kenya, Uganda, and different places, Nigeria. Many are being oppressed. Many are being set aside, even amongst each other. We still have oppressors. Yes, we ask you to deal with these people in your mighty name, and we ask you to deal with their evil heart. They've overstepped their bounds, and they have no boundaries at this time. They kill us in the streets. They kill us because they say they are law enforcement. They kill us because they say they are government officials. They cause us to starve and poor and howl. And then they say, lift yourself up. You can do it. You don't need anybody. But oh, most holy Sanini Nainini, we ask you to deal with these evil people in your name. Yes. We thank the Most High for you, and you. And certainly we give him glory and praise. Genesis chapter 38, Genesis chapter 38. And it came to pass at that time that Judah went down from his brethren and turned into a certain Adullamite. He was an Adullamite whose name was Hira. And Judah saw there a daughter of a certain Canaanite. Now this is a Canaanite. This is the one that his forefathers did not want them to marry, whose name was Sua. And he took her and went in unto her. And she conceived and bare a son, and he called his name Okay. And she conceived again and bare a son, and she called his name Onah. That's son 2. And she yet conceived and bare a son, and called his name Selah. He was at Chezib when she bare him. Now, you can say that these women, that these Israelites or the Bantu have married and conceived by. Now, the Bible acknowledges the man, but also right here he's acknowledging the woman, even though she's not of a Kobe. Apparently, this is so. Now, many would argue this thing, oh, you half blood, but the Bible, if you notice it, it goes by the man's seed, not by the woman's egg. The woman is honored in that she's invited in the tribe of Akobi, into the Bantu, that she might bear children for the men of the Bantu. And that was an honor to a lot of women, Canaanite, Egyptian, and all manner of different tribes and peoples, that the woman was honored to bear the children of the Most High's chosen. Now, Judah took a wife for his firstborn, whose name was Tamar. And Judah's firstborn son, was wicked in the sight of the Most High, Sanini Nainini. And Sanini Nainini slew him. And Judah said to Onan, go into thy brother's wife and marry her, and raise up seed to thy brother. In other words, he's saying copulate with your brother's wife and raise up seed to your brother. And Onan knew that the seed that should not be his, and it's a symbolic thing. That's what it basically was, a symbolic gesture to raise up seed to your brother. And it came to pass, he went into his brother's wife, that he spilled it on the ground. That's not masturbation, thank you. Lest that he should give seed to his brother. That this was the whole motive of why he spilled it on the ground, because he thought about it out of his pleasure. And the thing which he did displeased the Most High. Therefore he slew him also. Now he did a thing that he was commanded to do, not only by his father, but also by God, even the Most High himself, to bear seed unto his brother. But he didn't, and it displeased God that he was disobedient. Not only to disobey your parents is to be disobeying to God if they do the thing that God commands. Now, this was not a commandment of sin. This was not a commandment of fornication or nothing. It was just raise up seed to your brother. That's all it was. And then in verse 11, then said Judah to Tamar, his daughter-in-law, remain a widow at thy father's house till Selah my son be grown. For he said, lest peradventure he die also as his brother did. And Tamar went and dwelt at her father's house. Now in the process of time, the daughter of Suah, Judah's wife, died. And Judah was comforted and went up into his sheep shearers to Timnath, and he and his friends Hira the Adulamite. Now it was told Tamar, saying, behold, thy father-in-law goeth up to Timnath to shear his sheep. And she put her widow's garments from off her and covered her with a veil and wrapped herself and sat in an open place, which is by the way of Timnath. For she saw that Selah was grown. And she waited all this time for this little boy to get grown so she can have a baby for her late husband. And she was not given unto him to wife. And now, Judah didn't consider his word. In verse 15, when Judah saw her, he thought her to be an harlot because she had covered her face. Apparently he wasn't that familiar with her to know her voice, the intricacies. And he turned unto her by the way and said, go to, I pray thee, let me come into thee, let me copulate with ye. For he knew not that she was his daughter-in-law, his son's wife. And she said, what wilt thou give me, that thou mayest come in unto me? And he said, I will send thee a kid from the flock. And she said, wilt thou give me a pledge till thou send it? And he said, what pledge shall I give thee? And she said, your signet, your bracelets, and your staff that is in your hand. And he gave it her, and it came unto her, and she conceived by him. And she arose and went away and laid by her bed from her, and put on the garments of her widowhood. And Judah sent the kid by the hand of his friend the Adulamite to receive his pledge from the woman's hand, but he found her not. And when he asked the men of that place, saying, where's the harlot that was openly by the wayside? And they said, there was no harlot in this place. And she returned to Judah and said, I cannot find her. And also the men of the place said that there was no harlot in this place. And Judah said, let her take it to her, lest we be ashamed. And behold, he sent this kid. In other words, they wanted to do what was honest. He promised the harlot that he would give her a kid. He was going to pay her. Now, in those days, some had gold, some had silver trading items, and some just had cattle that they would give. Now, that was food. That was, you buy cattle with food, right? You buy with money. You buy cattle with money. And it says, I cannot find her. And also the men of the place says, there was no harlot in this place. And Judah said, let her take it to her, lest we be ashamed. Behold, I sent this kid, and thou hast not found her. And it came to pass in about 3 months that it was told Judah, saying, Tamar, thy daughter-in-law, hath played the harlot, and also, behold, she is with child by whoredom. And Judah said, bring her forth, let her be burnt. 25. When she was brought forth, she sent to her father-in-law, saying, by the man whose these are, I am with child. And she said, discern, I pray thee, who are these? This ring, this bracelet, and the staff. Oh, this is a time. Oh, this woman, she was on her P's and Q's. And Judah acknowledged him and said, she hath been more righteous than I. She knew better than I did. She knew what she should do, because that I gave her not to my Selah, my son, and he knew her again no more. In other words, he didn't want her no more. That's not mine. That's my son's wife. I don't want her. And so she bare a child. And it came to pass in the time of her travail that, behold, twins were in her room. And it came to pass when she travailed, she was in birth. She must have took the okra. But anyway, shout out to my friends at Pride Africa, that the one who put out his hand, that the midwife took and bound upon his hand a scarlet thread, saying, this came out first. And it came to pass as he drew back his hand that, behold, his brother came out, and she said, how hast thou broken forth? This breach be upon thee. Therefore his name was called Phares. Phares. And afterward came out his brother, that had an scarlet thread upon his hand, and his name was called Zirah. Now these things have significance, and we adjure you to study your Bible and understand these things. And we thank and praise the Most High for you, and all these things we shall explore later. And peace.